Earlier this week, we told you about a little boy who was brutally attacked by a dog. His scalp was torn off. Well, it's been a waiting game to see whether that surgery was a success. There's good news tonight. Trey Norton is out of intensive care. An update on his recovery is tonight's Medical Minute.
There you go.
The damage you see here on 5-year-old Trey Norton's head is the result of a violent dog attack. A friend's chow tore off part of his scalp. It was later reattached following 7 hours of microsurgery by Dr. Tad Hines.
He has 100% healing of the flap now. There were 2 big gashes in the separated part, right through and through the scalp. That so that part wasn't perfect, but those are healing.
And these little slimy fellows deserve some credit for his quick recovery. Leeches were used to ensure adequate blood circulation in Trey's scalp after the surgery. Yesterday, he was finally transferred from ICU to a private room where his mom and dad anxiously awaited.
I was scared and nervous, how this is going to react to him in the future. I think he's going to be all right.
Doctors hope Trey will be able to go home from the hospital within the next week.
If you put a practice target in front of Jean Williams, chances are she's gonna hit it. Jean is a practical shooting competitor. It's a sport she got hooked on 2 years ago.
It's good fun, it's outdoors, and you don't have to dress up any way special, just get your gear and go.
When Jean is competing, the judges look for more than just accuracy. Speed is also important.
Everything is worth so many points. And then that's divided by the time that it takes you to get from here to there. The steel counts for something, the paper counts for something, and your shots count for something. So it's all put together in a score.
Jean says one of the interesting things about the sport is each round is different. There are all kinds of scenarios which can be set up.
The white stuff is good. Those are hostages. Anything in white is a hostage, except for the plates. And it's just moving behind things, being able to think quick, aim, react, and go on.
Obviously, in a sport like this one, safety is paramount.
As I was doing before, you show that you're loading, you're making ready, you're putting the safety on, you're doing everything that you're supposed to. And I don't know if you noticed, when I finished the end of my run, I immediately dropped my magazine, racked my slide back, and dropped whatever ammunition was in there to show clear.
Jean hopes more women will try the sport. She says it can be a good hobby and a good way to sharpen those self-defense skills.
High school and middle school students, now you can get involved in the 2004 campaign through Campaign Cam, C-SPAN's video contest. Learn about an issue that interests you, and through Campaign Cam, tell us why it matters in a video that you produce that's 10 minutes or less. Your video must be submitted by the May 17th deadline. There's $50,000 in prizes, and the winning videos will air on the C-SPAN networks. For details, go to cspan.org/classroom.
This weekend on Book TV, an exclusive 1-hour interview with Chief Justice William Rehnquist on his new book, Centennial Crisis, The Disputed Election of 1876. Chief Justice Rehnquist talks about the Supreme Court's role in the 1876 election and other periods in history when the High Court weighed in on presidential matters. Chief Justice William Rehnquist on Book TV, tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, and tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern on C-SPAN 2.
In the new book notes on American character, one of the featured authors, Elliot Cohen, talks about his book on military leadership, read by President Bush before the Iraqi War.
There's a certain kind of connection in that, if we do end up going to war again with Iraq, there are lessons here, and there are particularly lessons because the book comes in the context of a really rather difficult moment, I think, in American civil-military relations. What would a president take away from a book like this? I think it would be, first, the importance of asking lots of hard questions and not simply accepting a plan that's presented to you and being quite insistent on options. And the more I dug into Churchill, the thing I found most interesting is the way in which he was actually a man of system, and a man who's much more thorough and deliberate than he's been portrayed. But one of, I think, the most brutal decisions that he made, and certainly one of the most brutal decisions that he felt he made, was in June of 1940, after the French have been effectively knocked out of the war by the Germans. In order to prevent the French fleet from falling into German hands, he orders the Royal Navy to attack it in its harbors in Algeria. And I think they kill something like 1,300 French sailors. Now, these are the people who had been fighting side by side with them a few weeks earlier. And Churchill's description of that is extremely eloquent. He says, this was the hardest decision he ever made. He said it was Greek tragedy, but it was absolutely necessary. And he kind of lays out why he thinks that was the case. I think one of the lessons you have to take away is if you're going to be a wartime president, you have to have the ability to be very, very hard.
This is just one of the nearly 80 authors who give unique insights into the history that shaped what American character is today. Read stories on leadership and sacrifice, corruption and greed, ingenuity and activism in Book Notes on American Character, a great gift for anyone who loves politics and history. Available now at your local bookstore.